everybody. Hawaii, yeah, makes it doing. My name is Myron Red Eagle. If some of you don't recognize me, I've been on the Mineral Council from 2010 to 2014. And I'll tell you a little bit about my history. My dad was Ed Red Eagle Sr. He was one of the assistant chiefs of our tribe. My mother was Virginia Logan Red Eagle from Hominy. And, on my mother's side, my grandfather was named Roman Logan. He was on the council in 1915, I believe. And my grandfather, Paul Red Eagle, was in various positions, assistant chief as well as a councilman. So it kind of runs in our blood, you know. And but my education, I've got a 4-year degree, a Bachelor of Science degree from Oklahoma Wesleyan University with business administration and with a minor in marketing. There's a lot to say, you know, about what's been talked about up to this time. And I think one thing that we need to do is we need to negotiate, things like that. Something has to come to the table. And I've been involved in a lot of negotiations when I was on the 2010 Mineral Council. And we always had 5 votes. We always had a majority vote. If we wanted anything done, we had that amount of votes to get it done. And one thing is just going to the questions real quick. So the Southern Utes, we've all talked about that before, and it's different up there. It's totally different. There's some of the leases are privately owned, and it's just a different situation. And right now, I understand we have a $4 billion not income, but a $4 billion estate, and that's a lot of money. And what they did, what we can do, is hire a professional petroleum engineer. That's important. Somebody that could come in and give us an expert opinion on what we need to do for the future. That can be negotiated. The second question, new oil and gas production has been brought to a standstill by regulations imposed by the BIA. How will you as a council member work to increase oil and gas production? I proposed with an organization here a while back to, the Mineral Council as a body, they approved leases. We approved, the first thing that producers come to is the Mineral Council. They come to us and we approve their lease. Why can't we approve permits? Why can't we contract that out with the BIA and approve the leases as well? Approve the permits as well. That would give us more power over the mineral estate, give us more control. We could approve the leases as well as the permits, and with the cooperation of the BIA or with negotiations with the BIA. That's one route we could go. That would also. I have, in the last several years, I've been talking about the last year. I've been talking with Myron Big Horse, and with some colleagues of mine, we proposed to him that there's a new, what they call cogeneration, and it's the use of natural gas. Some of you know about this, and they're still they're still thinking about it. Mark Sims and the gaming board, and this natural gas from our own Osage mineral estate. Why not use it? So they're still thinking about it. It's called cogeneration. And then there's also a processing plant, a compressor plant, no more than 4 or 5 miles from the new casino. Now, I asked him how much money does he pay on the utility bill. It's quite a bit, over $60,000 in peak period a month. Now, what is it going to be like when the new casino gets in? It's going to be probably double that, maybe triple. So he's worried about it. I know he is. And why not use our own resources to remedy that problem? We have learned for many years the Osage Nation has been underpaid for our natural gas by millions of dollars. How will you as a council member work to make sure we are paid market value for our natural gas? I asked a question like that to an oil producer, a local oil producer. I won't mention his name. He said, Myron, it has a lot to do with the price. The price is, the last time I looked, was $2.69 per MCF. That's not very much money. That's one way that we don't get a whole lot of money. We got in the last quarter of last year, we got $270,000 in royalties. And if we utilize our natural gas resources, we could make that, we could increase that for sure. Yeah. So with that, I propose that we negotiate. The BIA problem, it's been there for a long time. I went to some people that work for the BIA, some elderly people. They've been around the business for a long time. I asked them, what do we do? What's the answer to all this? You know, why not ask them instead of just going out on my own and working up an answer? They said, Myron, you got to go to Washington D.C. They said when your dad was involved in the '60s, he took over Oscar Logan's place in 1959 when my cousin Oscar Logan passed away, and he was involved in it all that time. We never had seen him when I was a child. That's why he was always involved with our people. So he said when your dad was involved, he said they went to Washington D.C. as a delegate at a delegation. They didn't go up there one or two at a time. They went up there in 5s and 10s and 20s, even as a whole. He said they met with the people that up there, and they made a difference when that happened. They didn't go up there just a chief at a time. They went up there as a delegation. That's what we need to do, and that will show us in numbers to the people in D.C., the people that are in charge. No matter if they disagree with us or not, we can still make a difference if we go up there like that. Tell them what the situation is. Tell them we're losing our payment checks. Our payment checks are down. Our natural gas situation is down. It needs to be remedied. That's what we need to tell them. And in 2010, when I first became on the council, I didn't know what was going on. And it took me almost a year to figure out what really took place. I think term limits would be an answer to that. There's people that's been on the council for quite a while, and in my opinion, it's been somewhat ineffective. You get in there and you try to figure out what's going on. Maybe it's time for some of them to move on. And I think a term limit would be the answer. Also, I want to mention too that it may be unpopular with some people, but it may be popular with some. But it's the fact that if you work for the nation, you work for the nation. If you're on the Mineral Council, you have to devote all your time to the Mineral Council. When I was on the council from 2010 to 2014, they wanted me to be a business people that were there in the office personnel. That's what they wanted to do, and I told them I would do it, and I didn't take any pay for it. I volunteered, and I was in the office every day of that year, even sometimes on Saturday. And I think if a person is going to serve on a Mineral Council, they need to devote 100% of their time to our people. My dad did that, and that's why we've never seen him, And we almost had to raise ourselves when we were that age, which was, in a way, that was good. but he always wanted us to be independent. And the other thing he didn't want us to be, he didn't want us to be on the hill while he was up there. He told us that. And I think the reason why is because, the rules and regulations. And he didn't want us to be involved, so we didn't. And when he went on to the great world, he said, "Now it's your turn." So that's when we got involved. And there's a lot I want to say, but that's the important points. And number 14 on the ballot. And I humbly ask for your vote. And this is a very important. I've heard my brother say this, both of them. This election is a very important and a very vital election. We got to very, very carefully magnetize who's going to be on these councils and this Congress. So think about it, and tell your friends, tell your relatives. I'm number 14 on the ballot, and I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Myron.